Так, ну мы вроде пошли. По идее, сейчас мы уже должны начаться. А это значит, что я приветствую вас, дорогие зрители. С вами Друзья по прохождению, Ярослав, Егор. И мы продолжаем проходить Stanley Parable, ту игру, которую мы решили сыграть в прошлый стрим, соответственно, это у нас было воскресенье. Даже если точнее, это у нас, по-моему, было число 28. Что, в принципе, не суть важно. С вами, как всегда, Ярослав и Егор. И на этот раз, в этом стриме, мы постараемся допройти эту великолепную, простую, но достаточно прикольную игру до конца. Ну, или почти до конца. Ну, то есть мы постараемся выбить просто оставшиеся концовки, несмотря на те, которые, ну, слишком сложно выбить, потому что там вы уже, если видели прошлый стрим, знаете, что там есть концовка, где нужно 4 часа нажимать на одну кнопку.
Да,
Потому что это искусство. Такая концовка издевательская, ну ладно. Ее мы точно получать не будем. Как обычно, рекурсия. Кстати, там смещение идет, ну ладно. Ну что ж, начнем? Просто начинаем игру. Остальные концовки у нас будет курировать Егор, чтобы я их правильно сделал, ну, с первого раза, и можно было сразу увидеть что-то интересное. А?
Да.
Ну, чтобы лишнее время, да, не тратить, все верно.
Ты уже увидел игру.
И половину концовок.
Да. Ну да, половину. Не считая твоей концовки.
Так, это мы уже видели. Давай. Он составил план того, какие концовки когда мы будем получать, так что у него, по идее, все должно быть нормально. Он должен нас хорошо направлять.
Иди в правую дверь. Слабо. Я думал, что...
Кривые руки, вот что. Если я нажму начать игру сначала...
Ничего страшного.
Я просто вспоминал управление и случайно закрыл дверь.
Да, бывает.
Так, и... Сейчас, секундочку. Можно я чуть-чуть сделаю потише звук, а то достаточно громкий, как по мне. Так, и...
И идешь в правую дверь. Ну, так, где у тебя будет выбор между двумя дверями.
Угу.
Идешь на склад, и дальше я тебе скажу, что делать.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Так.
Yes, truly a room worth
Прямо.
admiring, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Вот, ты идешь на склад. Теперь смотри, ты больше платформа двигалась вперед. Тебе нужно залезть на нее и спрыгнуть назад. Назад.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've got lost, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
Но мы ее уже видели. Тебе надо было сказать, нужно зайти и выйти с нее.
Good job, Stanley.
Да.
Everyone
Я
thinks you
просто
are very
забыл.
powerful.
Это очень быстро происходит. Зато ты вспомнил управление. И что здесь нельзя
All of
пройти.
his co-workers were
Да.
gone. What could it mean?
Там эррор, по-моему, был
Stanley
написан.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ой. Господи.
В прошлом фильме мы выделили как раз концовку с кнопками. Огромным
When
количеством.
Stanley came to a
Да,
set of two open,
райскую
this
комнату
was not
для
the
Стэнли.
correct way to the meeting room,
В
and
любом
Stanley
моменте
knew
можно
it
попасть.
perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
Да,
admire
а как в нее в любой момент можно попасть?
Там у тебя около компьютера будет.
Yes,
Можно нажать
this
просто.
room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
И прошел мимо.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below.
Понятно.
You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
Если бы мы только не падали.
Уже разочек, да? А все, там сзади все двери закрыли.
I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Нужно прыгать или еще подождать?
Сам решай.
Ну, мы не слышим что-то интересное или нет? Прыгать-то в любом случае придется просто. Можем что-нибудь интересное пропустить. А вот на ту машину нельзя попасть и уехать?
Нет. Как я помню, нет.
Whoops.
Да,
Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Неплохо, неплохо. Так, давай, теперь следующая концовка.
Смотри, ты должен не следовать пока что указаниям рассказчика, то есть опять идешь вправо.
А почему вот
Вот
это все?
Получилось.
Это из-за того, что я струсил.
Вот это я не знаю.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Тебе, короче, сейчас нужно будет делать то же самое, только и с мостика прыгаешь направо.
The lounge was sublime.
Ой, ну, с платформы на мост.
С платформы на мостик.
Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all
Говори чуть погромче.
The problem is all these choices. The two of us
Да,
always
это
trying to
помню.
get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Иди.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel...
А если я упаду?
I actually feel
Я не вижу, что тут можно даже упасть.
А это что?
Дальше проход.
Нам здесь нужно остаться или... А, да, я не могу здесь упасть.
Да, давай пойдем дальше.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Что?
Там прикольный купол был.
Ну, концовка же только вот такая. Там же концовки нет.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Егор?
Вот думаю, то, что ты сейчас делаешь.
No!
Бред.
Thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment.
Now,
can we please get back to the other... There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Всё, и нам просто не двигаться?
Нет, идти вперед. И умирать. Потихоньку.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Можно, конечно, каждый раз потом возвращаться. Да. Ты уж как ты хочешь.
No. No. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Не ужас стал.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to get rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Печальная концовка.
Да.
Ага, что дальше?
Сейчас ты должен пойти в офис директора. Но не заходите. Это в прошлый раз хотел сделать. Да, он получилось. И тебе скажу, когда снизу.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Так.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Don't get fired.
Feeling a wave of disbelief.
О, снова наша любимая комната.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ладно, давай развернемся и пойдем на правильный путь.
Да ладно, мы же здесь какое-то время не были, прикинь. Снова можно здесь посидеть. Вот это самый любимый момент этой игры. Серьезно. Можно бы еще что-нибудь было тут взять, было вообще прекрасно.
Как же конференц-зал?
Конференц-зал? А что с ним не так?
Там можно было отдохнуть.
Ну, может быть.
Стой. Не ходи, да. Теперь смотри. Тебе нужно зайти и быстро вернуться обратно. Так, чтобы дверь закрылась. Я не знаю, как сделать. Возможно, это немножко не понятно, но... Это офис директора считается. А? Ты можешь открыть его?
Я могу ее открыть, но я не могу ее закрыть, видишь?
Так,
она залагала.
Она залагала? Наверное, все нормально, иди назад. Короче, иди назад.
Да, она залагала, все, я ее открыл теперь типа сам, и она не закрывается в принципе.
Иди назад. Иди к своему кабинету.
Типа я побоялся?
Я просто не верю, что мы все правильно сделали. А мы, кажется, немножко неправильно пошли.
Да. Вот здесь надо. Она закрыта.
Угу. Значит, неправильно.
Значит, мы просто сделали так, что дверь залагала.
Так, стой. Попробуй сейчас вот. Стой. Остановись. Да, ты понял, короче, меня. Ты должен вот сюда и попробовать зайти и выйти. Во. Нормас. Все. Теперь точно правильно. Да, он замолчал.
Он замолчал, и та дверь открылась, да.
Мы сломали красиво.
Что тут, кстати, написано? Do not alter without White manager.
White manager.
Да.
Плохо. Нажимайте кнопок.
И просто вернуться. Типа Стэнли побоялся?
Не совсем. Видишь. Ты знаешь, был, да?
Это я был, да. Все? Сюда?
Дида? Да.
Такой триггер. Не всегда понятный и адекватный.
Мгм.
Так, я вернулся. Так. И?
Смотрись.
А?
Можешь смотреть.
Как подопытные камеры? У скипбэев.
Спасательный капсула.
560. Какие же кабинетики?
Еще один монтаж. Какой большой комплекс похож на портал.
Да. Мне кажется,
Возможно.
их можно объединить всех в какую-нибудь вселенную.
Да. Тоже эксперимент проводится.
По контролю разума только.
Мгм. Там классный дизайн.
Русское поле экспериментов.
Какой там?
Может, кто-то вспомнил, откуда это. Хоть я не очень хорошо напел.
Ты понял, какой этаж нам нужен был?
760.
А,
Это
если другому
59, а у нас следующий.
если
Я специально посмотрел, что там 760.
Да.
Вот, Escape
Вот.
Pod Launch.
Спасательная капсула.
А чё, там долго так идти? А. Так должно быть?
Да.
Что это?
Конец.
Да?
Тут мы просто немножко пропустили. Там, короче, были условия, что написано было, что рассказчик и тот, кто и герой должен быть вместе, чтобы спастись. С помощью спасательной капсулы.
А у нас такого нет, да?
Да, но у нас рассказчик остался там у нас.
Мы, то есть, сделали эту концовку, но при этом мы залагали.
Не, все правильно. Это просто такой смысл. А теперь тебе нужно рестартить. Много рестартить, пока не появится синий офис.
Просто вот прям тут рестартить.
Да, просто рестартить. Если нам повезет, и он будет быстро появиться.
А синий офис это какой?
Он прям будет заметно, что синий офис.
Хорошо. Недостижимый. Вот это.
Не уверен.
Она
Ну, иди
просто
дальше.
изменилась.
Ну,
Тут
иди
нету.
дальше, да. Я не уверен просто насчет этого, то, что это синий офис.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered
Это
the door on
развилка
his
сразу
left.
же.
Это точно не синий офис.
Это что-то новое.
Да, попробуй пойти дальше.
Ну давай другую концовку получим.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it
Ну это
perfectly
похоже
well.
просто шутка.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
Ну, судя
lounge
по всему, да.
first, just to admire it.
Ну тогда, в принципе...
Standing now in this
Что справа
incredible
было?
room,
Мы
ну
справа
давай
до
просто
конца не
пойдем.
доезжали.
to get back to
Да, давай
business,
дойдем до конца.
Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Для нее. Это для кого?
Вот.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To
Мне
reach out
отвечать?
to her. If you can truly place your
Егор?
faith in another,
А?
Хочешь?
then pick up the
Хочешь?
phone.
Окей.
Ты ответил?
Нет.
Отвечай.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about...
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? They want to commit their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley.
427 снова.
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Пошел вон.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Ну ты уродец.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
А время идет.
Now he's pushing a
Когда
button.
ты нажимаешь кнопку.
Now
По
he's
тебе не видно.
eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Нужно,
But in
кстати,
his
именно
mind,
правильно называть.
in his
Нажимать
mind, he can
кнопки.
go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went
Ну, там
further.
было В, что
He
посмотреть
imagined that he
ТВ.
came to two open doors
Yeah.
and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
А, это О. Я
As he
подумал, что это
wandered
0.
through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path
кухня
led an
поменялась на
enormous
офис.
round room
Да-да-да, я
with
понял.
monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Сейчас Стэнли.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Не делать?
Что?
Не нажимать на кнопку. И как долго это нужно делать?
Что?
Не нажимать на кнопку.
Нажимай, я имею в виду.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. I
Да.
don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to.
Грустный
I
концовка.
must. Perhaps, well, maybe this
Долго.
time we'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Просто умрите.
Теперь делают все то же самое. Ну, ты сначала рестартни.
Да.
Давай еще один раз рестартни. И еще раз. Можно, там есть, можно повысить немножко шанс убить себя, спрыгнув с лифта. Да, сейчас долго не будет выпадать. Концовка на 4 часа.
Не, это точно мы выполнять не будем. Можно повысить шанс выпадения, в смысле вот этого, концовка на 4 часа?
Нет, можно с синего офиса выбить с большим шансом, если ты умрешь с платформы.
Насколько там больше шанс?
Не знаю, просто больше.
Не офис. Что бы еще это
Давай.
значило?
У нас сейчас перед экраном много раз офисов будут, так что мы точно поймем, что что-то изменится. Ну, давай еще 10 раз и пойдем умирать.
Когда что-то изменилось, это было очевидно. Это
Да.
мы увидели, но это привело не к тому.
Так, не то. Еще 5 раз.
Да.
The number is loading.
Пошли.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Очень странная фраза.
Это
Stanley
про
came
вот
to a set of two
эту
open
штуку.
doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Это
Stanley
про
knew it. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
это
just to
помещение,
admire it.
где возмущается
Stanley felt
чувак,
lightheaded,
где чернуха.
butterflies in his stomach,
понял.
but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Нужно просто упасть или с испугом?
Просто умереть.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years
Да,
ago.
падай.
Look, Stanley, I think, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death.
У меня кот.
Good job, Stanley.
Да,
Everyone
есть
thinks
такое.
you are very
Кстати,
powerful.
очень могущественный. Мне нравится эта концовка.
И теперь перезапускаем.
Да, еще раз перезапускаем. Нам не выпало. Давай еще...
О! Давай, куда?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ищи
Stanley
открытую
decided to
дверь.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
Вот
memo.
она.
Сразу же.
Да.
Welcome to the Whiteboard Ending. И что это?
Тут справа написано кое-что.
Soul Park. Так, парк. Да, у нас.
Не стой, все это так надо такое.
Вот так?
Ага. Теперь зайди в игру.
Или... Кстати?
Да, теперь зайди в игру. Нажми Е. Английское.
Неплохо.
Я без звука этого, я понимаю, что
Stanley
там ты
went around
слышишь.
Он гавкает.
every little thing in the
Да.
office. but it didn't make a single difference, nor
Вот он на стриме
influence the
посмотришь.
story in any way.
Да. Иди теперь... Так, ну иди туда.
Туда?
Иди направо. Иди направо.
А
По
зачем?
When
Для
Stanley
следующей
came
концовки.
to a set of
Ты получил одну
two
концовку,
this
мы можем
was
сейчас
not the
сразу же.
correct way to the meeting
А.
room, and Stanley knew it
А
perfectly
сейчас ты же
well.
за концовку.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the
Ты идешь
employee
тоже,
lounge
поднимаешься по
first,
лифту.
just to admire it.
К телефону.
The lounge was grand,
Мы там не
majestic.
закончили.
Perhaps,
Да?
but eager to
Да.
get back to
Что там
business,
еще можно?
Stanley took the first
можно было
open
не
door on his left.
Не ответить?
Да.
Это насколько долго нужно там стоять?
Stanley was so
Недолго,
bad at
нужно было
following
отключить телефон.
directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Там есть розетка. Ну сейчас ты увидишь.
Look, Stanley,
Окей.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Прикольно, кстати, лайнья.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
Что не скажешь, игра прикольная.
someone
И веселенькая.
Please,
Неплохой юмор.
stop trying to make every decision by
Это
yourself.
точно.
I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside.
Лавка, это вот лайнья закрыла
Back into
дверь.
your life.
Нет.
She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? Now, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I
Игра,
didn't even
я
know
даже
that
не
was
знал, что это
possible.
возможно.
Just double check.
Нормально.
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions
У
were
меня
supposed
теперь
to be
лайни
taken.
и на Е, и на
Stanley,
мышку.
how on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it
Ну да, мы это уже
entirely.
делали.
It's as though you completely
Это было
ignored
такое.
even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the
Сейчас
real
будет
world.
лекция.
Please observe
Да.
this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario,
Я могу
a
лаять.
hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens
Что?
of impoverished
Там
third
что
world
было?
nations.
Да.
Or he could systematically set fire to every
Удивительно, что
person
нет субтитров.
living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
М.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular
О,
basis
появились
is the
субтитры.
best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8?
Нормально.
Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time,
Есть
your
такое.
instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This This way,
Ну
please.
давай.
Туда? Или куда?
Да. А, назад, наверное. Или подожди, где мы? Да, нам...
На эту штуку?
Попробуй. Назад, назад. А.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying
Типа ты не
senselessly
можешь
halfway through the story.
Да.
That story would make no
Печально.
sense at all. We just need to get
Да,
you
но я
as
все еще
soon as
могу лаять.
possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Прибудем в психушку.
Ну да.
Ну-ка, подойдите назад. А можно тебе прыгнуть или... Нет,
Не-не,
нельзя.
вообще нигде.
Блин.
Можно только полаять. Если потом будешь смотреть стрим, удивишься, сколько я лаял.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
И дальше?
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
Стой.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Теперь
entered the door on his left.
Иди направо.
Я так и думал.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not
Это
too
назад.
late.
Вот сюда.
Угу.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
А мы здесь, мне кажется, уже были.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Или справа? Егор. Налево, справа?
Налево.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a
Вон,
staircase,
вниз
Stanley
нельзя.
walked upstairs
Да,
to his boss's
следующий концов.
office.
Я понимаю. И тут та-дан-тан-тан.
Stepping inside his
Всё
manager's
понял.
office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just
Давай,
last week.
говори.
Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage
Говори.
to face the unknown.
Сейчас.
He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Ну, что ты говоришь?
Я, ну, в смысле, а что? Я нажимаю Е. Он баркает.
Ты говори.
Stanley spoke the code.
Вслух?
Night Shark
Ну да.
115.
Night
He
Shark
spoke it into the
115.
receiver, right there on the wall.
Я сказал его.
Ждем.
Night Shark
Sorry, is there a problem?
115.
You
Нет.
can
похоже,
mishear
ты правильно
me,
Я
сказал.
didn't you?
понимаю, что...
Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Ой. Печальная панда.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
Я могу полазить.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door.
Ты не
Are you
можешь
listening
сделать
to
сюда.
me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is
Я бы назвал это истинный концов.
Ну да.
story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you
Есть такое
understand?
похоже на истинный концов.
Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this?
Может, человек просто отошел, там, не знаю, в туалет. Чего прикопались к человеку?
Есть такое.
You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice.
Ох.
I'll wait for you to decide
Ну,
what's
вот,
the right
говорите.
thing to do.
М?
Да, дайте ему время, он думает, рассчитывает весь свой путь.
Да, телепатически. Я, кстати, все еще мог лаять.
Да. Так, ну, теперь остался самый
Ой,
веселый.
ё-моё.
Нет. Давай.
Какая теперь?
Ну, давай. Смотри. Тут нет прыжка, да?
Нету.
Смотри, ты идешь дальше. Вперед, к столам.
Someone was following Stanley.
Так.
He was sure of it.
Каким? К
If he
этим?
checked over his shoulder
Так,
now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
434 найди. Стол. 434. Он в этом. Вот, правее, правее, правее. Правее. Вот. Ага. Вот. Заходи на стул. Пытайся на него залезть.
Не могу.
Пытайся. Ты можешь посидеть? Во. Давай.
Ну и...
Ты должен подняться на стол. О. Так, теперь назад. Нужно, видишь вот это окно? Ты должен из него вылезти.
В смысле? Как?
Перебраться назад. То есть... Во.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes.
Есть такое.
So, now that
Прикольно.
you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Тебе тут будет 2 концовки. Так что нужно еще раз это сделать.
Then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Перезапускаюсь?
Да.
Ничего же не будет, да, я не... Перезапускаюсь, прохожу сюда, смотрю, тут другой вариант, это другая концовка.
Да, как он и завещал. Ой. Значит, это все.
Вау, нам получился шоткат случайно.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing? At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration.
Они не одинаковые?
It was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be?
Я, кстати, помнил, есть еще одна игра вот такая же, только уже русская.
Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick
Тоже ты просто ходишь, делаешь какие-то минимальные действия и слушаешь историю веселую.
Давай, делай выбор.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Правый веселее вариант.
Тут есть один нюанс.
There once was a man named Stanley.
Это я понял, в чем прикол. Музыка?
But the truth must be told,
Да,
he was
да,
not
ты слышишь
very
музыку.
old
Да, да, да.
and was quite
Я что-то
particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a
Я слушаю до конца, мне нравится.
But his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, You too
Ой,
will
я уже
become
чувствую,
quite
какая веселая будет
unbearable.
последняя концовка.
You
Тебе надо
Следующая, последняя?
will become
Да,
quite
тебе надо
unbearable.
отправиться.
А насколько долго он здесь будет играть?
Не знаю, я не проверял.
Ну, давай рестарти. Ну,
Смотри.
давай.
Теперь ты уже знаешь, что делать. Открываешь консоль. И прописываешь вот это. Я тебе скинул в личную.
Ща. Ну да, ты говорил, что такое будет.
Угу. Пиши. Скопируй лучше. Ага, скопируй лучше. Можно закрыть консоль.
Stanley,
Ладно,
this is
закрой.
me being serious. In fact, this is my serious room. It's
Серьезный
where I
комп.
come to be serious. That table is the most serious table I could find. I looked at many, many tables, hundreds of tables. It's possible I looked at over 1,000 tables. I honestly don't know. The specific number isn't as important as the understanding that of all tables I looked at, this one is the most serious. I relate this story to impress upon you the
Прекрасно.
extent to
Вон,
which
снизу
this
его
is
весь
the
я
most
смотрю.
serious room I have, which is why I brought you here. You just tried to activate server cheats, which of course runs the risk of breaking the entire game. You've got no respect for the strict order of scripted narrative events, and I just can't have that. It's time to get serious, Stanley. No jokes, no games. Outside of this room, I might be more tolerant of those things, but now we're in the room. Which is why I'm subjecting you to the most serious punishment I can think of. 100 billion trillion years standing here in the serious room.
Нормально.
Perhaps after that, we can talk about the severity of your actions and whether you've learned anything. But until then, serious room, go.
О, я лаять могу.
Да.
Я снова начал лаять, да. Ни с того ни с сего. Все? Это последняя концовка?
Почти. Теперь ты выходишь в меню и прописываешь еще раз 4.
Whoa, did we not have the talk? Are we not in the serious room this very moment? Did I not tell you how many tables I looked through? I'm going to be conservative and say it was somewhere in the tens of thousands of tables. Any reasonable person would say I spent an absurd amount of time doing nothing but looking at tables. I genuinely considered each one too. I took a hell of a lot of notes.
Как для разделки.
Notes in a different room. That room is less serious than this one. It's more of a notes room. Again, the point of this story is to convey how serious I feel this cheating issue is. And I'm sure you'll agree with me once you've fulfilled your new punishment. Infinity years in the serious room. I generally have trouble reading human emotions, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you're devastated by this crippling new punishment. As well you should be. It's the most serious I could think of. Can you get more serious than that? No, you can't. Don't try.
Не совсем. Теперь ты прописываешь еще раз, да.
Я так и предположил.
No effect. The problem is clearly the serious room. It isn't serious enough. That's on me, Stanley. I apologize. I'm going to the store to look through more tables. Hopefully I'll find one that conveys how wrong what you're doing is. Now, where did I put those notes?
Пошел записи искать.
Да, чтобы найти получше стало. Попробуй ввести еще раз. Вообще ничего не должно произойти, да? Куда?
Все?
Он ушел искать новый стол.
Да, он начал шелестеть записями и ушел.
Да, теперь рестартни. Повернись к компу. Нажми Е.
Но ничего не происходит.
Да, печально. Значит, больше не работает. Ну ладно.
В смысле?
Это была последняя концовка.
А ты хотел в рай попасть?
Да. Ну, уже не нужно.
Ну да. Ну ладно, значит, это была последняя концовка. Да, она была прикольная. Это хорошая шуточка, скажем так, вышла. Под конец. Ну что ж, дорогие зрители. Значит, на этом Stanley Parable подходит к концу. И его прохождение тоже подходит к концу. 4 часа стоять и нажимать на кнопку я точно не буду. Нет смысла. Кто-то уже получал эту концовку на YouTube. Я думаю, вы это сможете найти. Если что, можете это посмотреть, если это вам так интересно.
Получено.
А?
Смотри. Можно и получить намного быстрее.
Как?
Закончить тогда на этот концов. Смотри. Прописываешь концов.
И?
Хотя нет, заканчивай.
Ну, хорошо, значит, закончим. Там, насколько я знаю, мы встретим божество искусства, как он там, собственно говоря, по сюжету и говорил, да, что пройдешь эту игру, 4 часа вот прокликаешь кнопку, на тебя снизойдет озарение, и ты там поймешь что-то невообразимое. Ну, я думаю, что я как-то и без этого переживу, обойдусь и своими понятиями и знаниями, так что нормас. Собственно говоря, на этой ноте, веселой и позитивной, с миллионами столов и бесконечным временем у серьезного стола мы закончим. С вами были Друзья по прохождению, Ярослав и Егор, и увидимся мы с вами в следующем видео, или же в следующем стриме, что будет скорее, учитывая, что это пятничный стрим. До встречи в воскресенье, и я надеюсь, что в новой увлекательной игре. Пока!
Stanley stood for a long time in one spot. It's past.